the lighter the gravity field, the easier that is to do. The hard gravity fields, the heavy gravity, or the big mass gravity fields, like Kerbal, for example, if you try to do this kind of floaty, reorient your spacecraft on the final descent kind of thing, you're going to waste a lot of fuel doing that. But here, you can see I'm floating. I'm barely decelerating, barely accelerating. So it's pretty easy to do these little tricks. Alright, so I showed you that bit. So now let's make our final approach. Again, slow motion. So first off, I am now falling again, which is good. I've got about 4K to go, and my velocity is only about 20 meters per second, and I have some appreciable horizontal velocity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cancel the vertical and horizontal velocity at the same time. One way to do that is if you put your dot on the prograde. Oh, it helps if you turn this to surface. Normally I don't have to worry about that, but landing on this thing that turns late because the gravity is so low. Anyway, point is, if I put my little mouse pointer, if I put my dot right on there, I'm going to be canceling my velocity vector perfectly. And so what you're going to see is that vector is going to gradually rotate up as I make my burn, or if I don't, for that matter. And so right now, you see I don't have SAS on, I don't have anything here on, I'm manually piloting this thing down, and you'll see it starts rotating up. Now that's because I'm staying on it, or if I wanted to rotate it up faster, I go below it. If I want to burn vertical more than horizontal, I do this, and you'll see it goes back down. So basically, and so now I'm canceling my vertical velocity so fast that the gravity here is so weak that it's hard to not prevent yourself from falling. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this marker directly onto that dot, and that's going to tell me I have no horizontal velocity left. So I'm going to burn real slowly. See that? Now that is on the dot. And now if I move up here, I'm essentially falling, for all practical purposes, straight down. I might have a tiny bit of residual horizontal velocity, but it's going to be real small. Of course, it's going to be less than probably a meter per second. Now, why am I not burning? Well, I'm only going 20 meters per second, and I have 1.4 kilometers to fall. So I'm going to let nature take its course a little bit here, until I get to a few hundred K, and then or a few hundred meters, and then I'm going to slow down. Alright, so the next trick for landing you're going to want to see is, there's the sun. This is a pretty good sun position. It's not always that good. So you're going to want to know your altitude, you're going to want to know your meter per second, downward velocity, and you're going to want a shadow. It's easier to land with a shadow. Alright, we're getting to 500K, so I'm going to start a burn. So now I'm basically hovering, and you can see there's very little horizontal velocity, but it's a little bit to that side. So I'm going to compensate a little bit, move off the nav ball horizontally just a little bit, and burn, and bring it back. That should have canceled some of that little residual horizontal velocity that was left. Alright. You can see 150 meters to go, falling. There's my shadow, so I can use that as a reference point now visually. That's a good thing to have. It's harder to do this in the dark, but this tool does make it possible. Or in version 0.18 there will be landing lights. That will be helpful too. You can see I really did cancel most of my horizontal velocity. That's how you do it. You watch this indicator. And now the trick is to come down here, canceling this slowly so that you basically hit something close to zero when this hits something close to zero. So doing that, you just bump your throttle up and down, very small amounts. And you're down. Alright, so that's how you do it. You use the nav ball indicator, and you position your spacecraft back and forth, left and right, relative to that indicator to move it around on here. You fly by instruments, and that's how you tell. All right, so that's the easy case. That's Minimus. Let's go to the Space Center.